Within the education sector, 72 students of Caritas Mariana Secondary School in Thika are stranded after the institution was closed down by the education authorities. The closure was prompted by complaints of cases of devil worship, sexual exploitation and rampant indiscipline among students. The Parents Teachers Association
You have heard this saying,
say they were shocked by the move to close
train
the
up a
school
child
down,
in a
which
way
they said had jeopardized learning, especially
that
for
when
those sitting for
they
the
are of
national
age,
examinations in 2 months' time.
they will not depart. This saying you have heard before, even by certain elders. This saying is written of in Proverbs 22 verse 6. That is in your King James Version Bible or other translation Bibles. King Lemuel was the one who make mention of the saying. Some academia refer him as Solomon. But if you was to ask King Lemuel, what is this way that he is talking about, he may explain you differently. King Lemuel was not raised in Western culture. Neither was he raised, or let me clarify, neither did he live in Western countries. He was not at all familiar with Western American, British, European systems. Neither was he brought up in the school system that these entities I referred to establish. So if you was to ask King Lemuel, what is the way? King Lemuel would explain you differently. For the way that he knew that we have to train up our child under is the law. I want to show you examples of why they are not trained up in a way that King Lemuel is saying. And I would more so pay attention, I would more so focus on children. For children who ought to be trained up in a way. The school system that they attend in the British, American, European systems is teaching them educational wise that there is no creator. Examples of that: Big Bang Theory, the universe explode, and all elements that you see in this universe make themselves present. Another theory, the theory that we evolve from the kingdom of the apes or the primates. These theories are by the same European, white, Caucasian people who have enslaved our ancestors and brought them into slavery. I'm talking about the African indigenous people. who are the real Israelites according to secular and biblical history. And those who were brought here from the Niger, Congo areas as slaves to the Western world, descendants of slaves. These theories have been introduced to us in the late 18th or 19th century. These theories have been introduced within the school system that we send our children to. Now, if you was to ask our ancestors who were practicing their ancient tradition about the origin, where they come from, the origin of them, according to their oral accounts, they will tell you that they will totally disregard that theory. Why am I bringing forth this information? To show you the agenda that the American, British, European, white people and systems were trying to promote, or the agenda they were pushing, and also to direct us where there is no creator. Another example. They show us it within his story, or their story, that Christopher Columbus discovered the American, the Caribbean, Europe, places where they brought the descendants of slaves to. Was that true? Did he really discover this place? Or is it indigenous people that were melanated, like African indigenous people were there first? Which one is it? And then I'm talking the history that they teach us in primary. I haven't even go to the religion. The European version of Christianity. The European Western white version of Christianity. They have brought to our people. When we know very well the images that the Bible present, as far as how Christ looked, how the angels look, how the Creator looked, it described them as dark-skinned or melanated people. They have brought the European white version of Christianity to our people. And our people believe in this white image. When we are indoctrinating, when we are sending our children to school to be indoctrinated with their education, their religion, we actually making them believe that they are inferior. They are inferior to the white, Western, European American, British people. We make them feel, we make them believe that they are inferior to them, or they are the superior. And we look at our own people as the inferior. So we want to take advantage of them. We want to harm them. We want to oppress them. We want to treat them lesser than they are. This is the mindset that our children are being raised in. When they go through that school system, this is the mindset our children are having. This is the mindset they are indoctrinated in when they go to that school system. I haven't even mentioned sex education. They go to school, the PE teacher is teaching them that is okay to have sex without a condom. Let me tell you something, my people who are listening to this program. If you send your son and daughter to that school, they will become the biggest whore in that school. They will become the biggest whore. I know what I'm saying because I actually observed that thing in real life. A woman lived near to me. She left school. She got pregnant with a child. And she left school to deal with personal issues. And in the conversations that I remember she had, she was indicating that from a young age she was prostituting herself. And she was a very shameless whore. This is what goes on. This is in the present day reality. So I'm not lying. I am not contradicting myself when I make these statements. My people who are listening, most of what they are taught in these schools, they're not going to apply it to real life. Because as you heard what I have presented, there is no wisdom in it. The wisdom of this world, as Paul would say in 1 Corinthians 3:18-19, let no man deceive you. If any man amongst you thinks that he is wise in this world, let him be a fool. Let him become a fool so that he can become wise. What is Paul actually trying to say here? If any man think himself to become wise in this world, you go to school, you learn a bachelor's, you get a bachelor's degree, you get a PhD degree, you become wise in this world, but you become foolish to your maker. You become foolish to your maker. So now you have to unlearn all that you have been taught in those school systems and in other systems that is European, white, Western, British, American have established. You have to unlearn their wisdom and now reprogram, recondition yourself to receive the wisdom of the Creator. You pay attention to the world. You pay attention to what's happening in current day. You pay attention to those who have degrees or PhD degrees in whatsoever field. And it's difficult in most cases to speak or to bring forth spiritual information to them. It is challenging to bring forth this wisdom to them because they are so indoctrinated. And they are so knowledgeable in foolishness that is very hard to accept. This knowledge, this wisdom that I'm sharing with you. And I have seen these things in real life. So what is the wisdom? The wisdom is the law. The book of Sirach mentions the wisdom is the law that the Supreme Being gave to Prophet Moses. Yes, the wisdom is the law. So anything you have to educate your children in supposed to be the wisdom of the Supreme Being. Hear this, my children. Sirach chapter 6 verse 18. My child, learn to value wisdom while you are young, and you will still be able to find her when you grow old. Sirach. A wise preacher is saying that when the child is young, they are to learn and value wisdom. So when they reach of old, they will not depart. I'm making the connection to Proverbs 22 verse 6 because it says, train up a child in a way that when they are of age, they will not depart. Precept upon precept is how we get understanding. Here a little, there a little. I'll continue. In verse 19, workers hard to find wisdom, as farm works to plow and plant his field, then you will expect a good harvest. So Sirach is creating the analogy that we work as hard to find wisdom. The same way how we do farm work, and we plow and we plant the fields. That's the example of how we find wisdom. And as I am reading this, a thought came to mind. Now, the wisdom of this world, we look at the school system. Like these things I'm telling you in the past, pay attention to what I'm going to say now. In the wisdom of the Supreme Being, which is the law, as I mentioned previously, the law shows us that 6 years we are to sow the land, and 7 years we are to rest it so that the poor, the stranger can eat. This is in Exodus chapter 20 verse 10. Now when we pay attention to this, we see the wisdom in why the Creator presented that system to us. So that when we sow the land or we plant the fields, we're able to get a harvest of food to sustain ourselves. All nations of the earth, I don't care what nation you are part of, needs food to sustain that nation. Like food is part of economy or economics. You need these things in order to sustain a sovereign nation. This is facts. This is reality. All the education you will be taught in school, you need agriculture or farming to survive. So the Creator or the Supreme Being is showing us this is what we have to do as pertain to one aspect of the law that we have to observe. Now in the school system, they are teaching all these things about their history, their education, their religion, but they are not teaching on a primary level in these Western schools. These schools that have been westernized or have been colonized or have been introduced by the British American systems, they are not teaching agriculture or farming, which is supposed to be taught at a primary level. Because if it is you are educating a child, I mean, this is one of the things you have to educate a child in. How it is he or she should sustain themselves or be self-sufficient, being able to eat their own food. Now, they will not show these things at a primary level because they have no intention for you to be self-sufficient. They have no intention for you to be self-employed. But they have every intention for us to be slaves. For us to work for the corporation to have it running, to have it functioning. So this is why they will not introduce this system at a primary level to children. But they will condition you to be their engineers, their doctors, their lawyers, but not show you, not teach you how it is you should be self-sufficient on a primary level. This is the wisdom I'm referring to. But in the wisdom of the Creator, this has already been explained. Sirach chapter 6, verse 32. My child, you can learn if you want to. You can be clever if you are determined to be. You hear what it says? My child, if you want to, you can become clever if you are determined to be. So, Sirach is saying that if you choose to become wise, you can be so. No one is forced to become wise. No one is forced to attain the wisdom of the Creator. No one is placing a gun before your neck or head to tell you or enforce you that you must become wise. This is something you have to decide for yourself. Hear this, verse 33. If you are willing to listen, you will learn and become wise. Verse 34. Go where the old people are, for you will find someone who is wise, and stay with them. Stay with him. Be ready to listen to religious people speak. Don't miss anything that shows insight. So we have to go where the old people are. And we have to listen when religious people speak. Now, the word religious is a word that has been interjected, because we know in Sirach time they wasn't following any religion. They was not observing a religion. They was following the way. The same way in what King Lemuel is saying, train up a child in the way, they was following that way. They weren't following a religion. So you had elders, old people who understood or who was familiar with the way. So he's saying that we have to listen to those people who know the way. And the elders, and they had known the way. Not elders of today. Elders of today don't know the way. But the elders of those times. And you have few elders today who know the way. Now hear what verse 37 says. Devote all your time to study the Lord's commands and thinking about them. He will give you insight and wisdom you are looking for. So it says to study the Lord's commands. You know what is the Lord's commands? The Lord's commands are the law. Are the law. These are the commands. So the child is to be educated in the law, meditating on the law. They are to be raised in the law. Here's it in Deuteronomy 6. Hear, O Israel, for the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love thy Lord with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. And these words shall be in thy heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, when they sittest, when they walkest, when they lies, when they rises. So they are to be taught the law, or the commands of the Supreme Being. This is what they had to be educated in. So when they said train up a child in a way that he is not to depart from it, the way is the law. And if anyone wants to find the law